to order. We do have a quorum. We would like to have Miss Angie Adams give the pledge, if you don't mind, please. Or start us off with leading the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll start this. Before we go into adoption of the agenda, I'm Frida Player. I'm the vice chair. As you can see, our chair, Elrod, and okay, there we go. Testing.
Someone's mic.
They have to mute. Everybody on there have to mute. Testing. Okay. We have Chair Elrod, Dr. McKinney, and Dr. Battle are joining us virtually. They are at the AVIC conference representing MNPS. So that's why we will see them on the screen throughout the meeting, and I will be chairing in person just for efficiency's sake with the meeting. So I want to start with that. We'll now go to the adoption of the agenda. Is there any, is anyone making an adoption to the agenda?
Yes, I'd like to make an amendment.
Ms. Tyler?
Yes, I'd like to pull consent item 1D, the operating budget, off the consent agenda.
Okay. And there else? All right, I take a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Adopted by Ms. Mays, sorry. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Tyler. All right. All in favor? Okay. It passes.
We need to make that roll call.
Sorry. There would be a roll call vote due to the virtual participants. Excuse me. Dr. Severe, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Masters?
Aye.
Ms. Masters votes aye. Dr. DeBon McKinney?
Aye.
Dr. McKinney votes aye. Ms. Mays?
Aye.
Ms. Mays votes aye. Ms. Player?
Aye.
Ms. Player votes aye. Ms. Block?
Aye.
Ms. Block votes aye. Ms. Tyler?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler votes aye. Ms. Elrod?
Aye.
Ms. Elrod votes aye. Madam Chair, 1, 2, 3, 4, be 7 ayes.
All right. Thank you very much. So before we do public participation, we have a State of Metro Schools address that we're going to hear. We'll turn over to Chief Breadstead to cue up the video, please.
Really thin on this, right? And let's put it on top of your yellow hexagon. Does it fit?
The 2022-23 school year is definitely a year for the history books. It was a year where we were able to deepen our practices around our district mantra of every student known in Metro Nashville Public Schools. We kicked off the 22-23 school year with some pretty big announcements. We were coming off of a year where we had historic growth for our students, that they were able to exceed what was expected in a year's worth of growth. We also were celebrating academic achievement for our students at every level. We were able to close and or exceed some of the academic gaps with regards to achievement and outpace the state in lots of those tested categories. And so when I think about kicking off the 22-23 school year, we were starting from a strengths, a success basis that allowed us to really double down on expanding those and accelerating those successes and being really laser focused in the areas where we wanted to continue to grow and achieve. In addition to that, we've kicked off the year with lots of growth with our students with regards to social emotional learning. building their toolbox of competencies around just being great learners and great students in Metro Nashville Public Schools. We had lots of firsts this school year, just kicking off new initiatives and new opportunities for our students as we look to close the opportunity gap for all Metro Nashville Public School students. So when we think about the investments that have been made in Metro Nashville Public Schools, our students have benefited greatly. I mean, our mantra, again, is every student known. And so with our investments, we're constantly keeping our students at the core of our investments and what it really takes to make sure all of our students are known and that they're on a path towards success. So a few things have happened for MNPS throughout this current year and leading up to this current year. One, we are very proud that we are home to the best paid, best compensated teachers in the state of Tennessee. We know the quality that it takes in providing the educational experiences we want for all of our students. And in order to retain and attract the best and brightest teachers, it takes having a very robust compensation package, which we're very proud to have here in MNPS. I mean, this current year, we also saw a significant investment leveraging the funds through Metro government and through our ESSER in being able to level the playing field for our support staff as well. So everyone from our transportation department to nutrition services to our paraprofessionals and the many other support roles that we have in MNPS, we were able to level set their pay scale and increase compensation so they too can remain in Nashville and continue to serve our wonderful students. We're extremely grateful for the partnership we have, and I'll start from an administrator perspective with the Board of Education, but also with the mayor, Mayor John Cooper, and Metro Council. Listen, I think what we've seen over the last few years is that our mayor, our Metro Council, and our city has prioritized education. So that partnership, the transparency, the communication, and the accountability around what it takes to educate our young people cannot be understated. We're very thankful for that partnership and look forward for that level of partnership to continue for years to come. So moving into the 23-24 school year, our board has prioritized no-cost meals for all of our MNPS students. I think the data is clear, right? We want to care for the basic needs of our students in MNPS. A hungry child is just not prepared to learn and engage in the way that we would desire for our students to in an ideal space when they move into the classroom. We want for our MNPS students to remove any barriers to their access to their level of engagement and success in their classroom experience. We're trying to create ready learners who are ready when they come to school and quite frankly don't have that barrier of trying to figure out when they're going to receive or how they're going to receive their next nutritious meal. And so the no-cost meal opportunity will provide no-cost meals for every MNPS student for breakfast and for lunch. And we've had variations of this program in the past for some students, maybe not all, some schools, but not every school. And so I'm extremely proud for all of our MNPS schools, we will be able to deliver on a no-cost meal approach for our students. So I'm really excited. Over the last few years, we've piloted some initiatives in Metro Nashville Public Schools to really retool and rethink the way in which we cover classrooms in the event of absences. We've traditionally referred to this practice as our substitute teacher model. Very proud that really research-based strategies, what we're seeing happening across the nation is that we've got to kind of shift from that traditional model. We've got to begin to invest in strategies that really get to the core of what we want to provide for our students on a daily basis. And so we'll be launching, going into next school year, an initiative called Classroom Associates in all of our schools to say, what do we want to be true? And so our Classroom Associates will be a part of our school communities, every school community in Metro Nashville Public Schools. Our Classroom Associate leaders will be a part of the faculty. They will be training with our teachers and staff. They will be prepared to step in when a teacher is there. They'll be there when the teacher returns so that we can talk about how the lesson developed and if there are any specific needs that were uncovered while the teacher was away. I mean, in fact, the most exciting thing about Classroom Associates is the relationships that they'll already have with our students. So I'm extremely proud of our student portfolio that we've created to meet the unique needs of our students. One of them is our Promising Scholars portfolio program option for our students and families. Promising Scholars takes place over the summer for the month of June. It's a 4-week enrichment opportunity for our students where we're really focused on STEAM opportunities for students, continuing to build both their numeracy and literacy skills for our students. Over 17,000 students have enrolled in our Promising Scholars opportunity. And this is not your traditional summer school experience. I mean, the feedback we've gotten most frequently from our students is that it was fun, it was engaging, and they learned a lot. Part of the approach here is to also support our work in alleviating the summer slide for students. It's a way to keep them engaged in fun and creative ways that also enhance the curricular focus that they have during the school year. So it's a very fun opportunity for students. We offer this opportunity for rising kindergartners all the way through rising 12th graders. What I tell students and families, if you sign up in Promising Scholars, we have something for you. This year is a very unique year due to the 3rd grade retention law. And so we do have a significant number of our students who have enrolled, particularly in 3rd grade, for our Promising Scholars. It is one of 2 avenues by which students can alleviate the need to be retained in 3rd grade. Accelerating Scholars is the second portion of our student portfolio. Accelerating Scholars is our Metro Nashville Public Schools version of the gold standard high impact tutoring. We're really proud of our ability to be able to stand up a tutoring program that, one, meets the unique needs of our students, but gives them that either one-to-one or small group tutoring opportunities during the school day. Right, during the school day. This is not by chance. This is by design that we're engaging and connecting with our students in multiple ways. For lots of our students, it's through their personalized learning time, where they're connecting with either in person or virtually with a tutor who shows up for them around 3 times a week for 30 minutes, who pours into them to build their confidence, but also their content knowledge. So MNPS has a very unique but gold standard tutoring program that's supporting our students in both literacy and numeracy, and we're already seeing great benefits of students being able to grow who are participating in our Accelerating Scholars program. So there is a third area to our student portfolio. I've talked about Promising Scholars. I've talked about Accelerating Scholars. This school year, we also kicked off Enriching Scholars. So let me recap first before I go into Enriching Scholars. Promising Scholars happens over the summer, the month of June. Accelerating Scholars happen during the school day, mostly throughout the school year. Enriching Scholars, which is our new addition to our student portfolio, happens on the weekends for our students. It is another opportunity on Saturdays for our students to connect with mentors, to connect with other experts, to really enrich their learning opportunities. We're again talking about fun and interesting ways where our students are taking field trips and engaging in hands-on experiences throughout the school year, but on the weekend. This is a way to almost extend the learning week for our students. During our Enriching Scholars, we're providing nutritious meals for them. We're providing transportation so our students can engage. It's another way to think about extended learning opportunities. When students are in their formal learning time, how can we keep them engaged? How can we keep them connected to their learning environment so that they feel the commitment we have to them, but also that we're accelerating all of those focused outcomes that we have for our students. And so Enriching Scholars came about this year because it was another opportunity to be very targeted in our supports and our commitment to our young people. And so again, thinking about that three-pronged approach with Promising Scholars, Accelerating Scholars, now we're Enriching Scholars on the weekend. And so for our families, that's a game changer. We're talking about quality learning experiences for our students summer, during the school year, and on the weekends in safe and nurturing learning environments. The tragic situation that happened at the Covenant School on March 27th affected all of us. When I think about the widespread impact, both here in Nashville and nationally, we are all thinking of our young people and our staff that work in our schools. So when I think about the impact professionally, I'm constantly reflecting on the great responsibility we have as a school to create safe and secure learning environments for our students. It is top of mind for our leaders, for our school teams, for our bus drivers, for nutrition services. Everyone on our team has that as a priority, and we know that is where we start. We have to start with building the conditions of safety and security. We also recognize that there's a continuum of care. That we all as a community play a role in keeping our young people and keeping our public servants safe in this fearless work that they do on a daily basis. On a personal note, just like every other parent, I grieved with them because we all expect, particularly as MNPS parents, we expect for our young people, our kids to go to school and to thrive and return home in a safe space. So moving into the 23-24 school year and considering any safety and security enhancements, I'll first start with this. I'm proud of the work in partnership with the Mayor, Metro Council, as well as MNPD, OEM, NFD. I'm really proud of the work that we've undergone over the last several years. Lots of work happened even before March of 27th of this school year. But we will continue as a district to double down on our safety and security measures. We were able to embark upon several enhancements this past school year, including our security vestibules, training for our staff, expanding our personnel within our buildings, both from a social emotional learning standpoint, mental health, but also safety and security personnel. Moving into the next school year, we're going to continue to enhance our training protocols. We'll be expanding upon some of our productive training in collaboration with MNPD, with our principals, as well as our school staff. Moving into next school year, we will continue our implementation of our planning and making sure that we're building those in collaboration across those multiple entities for perspective and for improvement. We're going to continue to, in partnership with MNPD, improve upon our staffing within our schools that's reasonable and meets the appropriateness of the age of students who are learning within a specific learning environment. And we're looking to do some enhancements around some of the basic security measures in and around our building. So we've had lots of discussions around the shatterproof glass. We'll be making some enhancements around that for this upcoming school year as well, and continuing to deepen our partnership with our first responders in the event of an emergency. Lots of our efforts will go towards proactive planning. We both have to think through the internal and external threats to our schools, but our commitment is to continue to double down, continue to look at those national best practices, and represent that in actuality here in MNPS. Yeah, so we really focused this year on elevating the academic success of our students, but also the extracurricular and athletic success of our students as well. A few firsts for us this year. We, in partnership with the Tennessee Titans, we kicked off our first girls flag football competition. It was an exciting day for our young ladies to be celebrated by the Titans. women have an opportunity to compete at this level. Girls flag football is a growing sport across the country, and so for the 2023 year to kick off our annual football season in the spring was a tremendous effort. I mean, it took great leadership from our athletic department with our athletic directors, partnership with the Titans, and all the coordination of our TSSAA sports. But I had an opportunity to see the girls in action, and they were phenomenal. Most recently, we were able to celebrate our top athletic accomplishments from our students across the district via our Breakfast of Champions event. This is the first annual event celebrating our champions. Look, we have greatness in every way, and we're going to continue to celebrate our students in their many accomplishments. And one of the things I shared with our student athletes was they have one of the greatest challenges. They are top performing students and also top performing athletes. And so we needed to take a moment to acknowledge their greatness, to support them, and to encourage them on their journeys along the way. And when you go back and look at the legacy and the history of student athletes in Metro Nashville Public Schools, the list is long. I don't even have enough time right now to name them all. The reality is that we graduate top talented students academically and athletically every single year. So as we move forward with regards to our athletic aspirations, we look forward to a few things that are coming up next school year. We will be turfing all of our stadiums across MNPS. That will give us more access and more durability to allow many more competitions and showcases to happen in and around our schools. So we're really excited about that. We're continuing to expand kind of our reach and supervisory model around athletics. I'm so proud that we've most recently launched sports within our elementary schools. So we're looking to expand that as we're moving forward. Cross country, soccer, we're looking at track and field opportunities to really build the confidence and the skill set of our students as they connect in elementary school. And you know, we're creating this vision that we can do that in a way that's no cost to our families. That can be expensive, but we have so many talented students who deserve an opportunity to showcase their talents. So we'll continue to expand with regards to the multiple tiers of athletic opportunities. And the last thing is just showcasing the best of Metro Nashville Public Schools. Our students are some of the most talented students, not only in Nashville, not only in Tennessee, but across the country. And we want to continue to fuel them and to provide quality athletic experiences to match the quality experiences that they're receiving in their classrooms. So I'm very thankful to the Titans for their partnership in hosting our first annual celebration of schools. You know, the thought process around the celebration of schools is that our MNPS school communities are filled with such talented students. I mean, I'm inspired by them on a daily basis. And so one of the things that we want to do a better job at as a school district is showcasing their talents, right? Our students love the opportunity to showcase their talents. Their parents love to be engaged in that way. And it really showcases the talent we have in our quality staff in MNPS and really feeding those talents and helping students grow from year to year, both academically and everything it takes to make sure that our students are thriving in MNPS. And so as we were kicking off the celebration of schools, I mean, the idea here was to celebrate every school and every student within that school. And so it was a joyous occasion where we were able to witness the greatness of our MNPS schools, you name it, whether it be by music and bands and dance and other performance areas. areas, as well as athletics. It gave us an opportunity to really showcase that for the community, and really keep the spirit and the heart of our schools at the forefront of our city, and really pouring into our young people. So that partnership with the Titans and allowing us the space and opportunity to not only showcase their talents, but also host a fair and other community and family resource gathering in one place, like a one-stop shop, to make sure that our families have what they need, was an excellent opportunity that we continue to build upon year over year to celebrate Metro Nashville Public Schools, the legacy that exists within our schools, and that our current students will continue year after year. Graduation season is one of my favorite seasons of the school year. I mean, the start of school year is amazing. The end of the school year is amazing. But what is most significant about the end of the school year is graduating. So congratulations to the class of 2023. This is a class of students who have endured a lot. They came into high school throughout the pandemic, and they've seen other tragic events and social injustice issues in their time in high school. And our graduating seniors have overcome, they have persevered, they are resilient young people. Being a part of so many graduations, shaking their hands, fist bumping them as they're coming across the stage is part of the most inspiring work as being a superintendent here in MNPS. To see the smile on their faces, to see the confidence that they have as graduates of MNPS, and then hearing the stories. Our graduates of 2023 are going places. I'm excited about their college and career plans as they move forward, and MNPS will continue to cheer them on. So this school year in particularly, we've taken a pretty fierce approach in supporting our graduating seniors and seniors who are coming behind them to make sure that they have strong transition plans, but also that we're working with post-secondary institutions and career industry to remove barriers to our students' success. And one specific example of that is University MNPS. We grew University MNPS this school year. We now have significant partnerships with Belmont University, Tennessee State University, Lipscomb University, and coming on this school year is Fisk University. I mean, all those universities have stepped up under University of MNPS to provide multiple supports to our students, not just when they're graduating. We're talking about mentorships, we're talking about apprenticeships and internships and class observations and just everything you can think of, guest speakers, to make sure our students have access to college level coursework even. So I'm really proud of those partnerships. Nashville State is also one of our partners under University of MNPS. But ultimately what these students are supported with are 4-year full ride scholarships to these great institutions. I mean, institutions that are often referred to as the Athens of the South, institutions that are continuing to prepare the best and brightest graduates at the higher ed level. And so we're really proud of our University of MNPS initiative because it's breaking down barriers to access for our students. We know that most recently the data, the research is telling us that we're having a decline in the number of students who are moving from their high school experience into post-secondary. A lot of that is not about confidence. A lot of that is not about having the skills and the knowledge necessary to be successful at the next level. Some of it is simply financial burden. And so we're working closely with our local colleges and universities to remove that burden. So we're extremely thankful to Belmont, to Fisk, to Tennessee State, Lipscomb, and Nashville State for stepping up and partnering with MNPS in this way. I think another historic moment for Metro Nashville Public Schools this year was our first annual signing day for our graduating seniors. We have signing days for everything else. Why do we not have a signing day for students who are receiving these full ride scholarships under the University of MNPS umbrella? We invited all of our seniors who were receiving these scholarships and our partners and their families to really celebrate them and send them off with a huge congratulations and as much support as possible. You know, to see the smiling faces and the relief on the faces and then through the communications with our families are, I mean, I just can't even put words and phrases to it. Just a remarkable experience to celebrate our students. And again, they're kicking off our first annual signing day under University MNPS. So a great day for sure, just celebrating the greatness of our students in MNPS. Metro Nashville Public Schools is committed to continuous improvement. My team hears me say this all the time. We're committed to knowing where we are, but not staying there. We came into this academic year with many successes: growth, achievement, athletic accomplishments, accomplishments of our graduating seniors and their plans for moving on to post-secondary opportunities. We've enhanced work-based learning opportunities. We have our new classroom associates that are coming in next year. We're continuing to work on compensation for all of our employees. I'm extremely proud of the work that has been accomplished in MNPS, but I look forward to really accelerating their work into next school year. I'm looking forward to continued growth. I'm looking forward to making sure more of our students are meeting and exceeding their goals from year to year. I'm looking forward to extending our reach to all MNPS students in every way that we can. So we will continue to partner, we will continue to engage with our internal team, with our parents, with our business partners, with our city leaders, and advocating for what it will take to ensure that every MNPS student is known. As we close out the 22-23 school year, I'd like to say congratulations to our graduating seniors and their families. Job well done. You have been successful throughout your entire educational career here in MNPS. And we know that that will continue in your post-secondary opportunities. We'll continue to cheer you on, and we're definitely rooting for you in the years to come. For our returning parents and prospective parents, we are looking forward to welcoming you back in August. We are going to work extremely hard over the next few months, really doubling down on all the positive experiences we want to provide for your students. So whether that be from the academic lens or the social emotional learning lens or athletics or safety and security, all of those are priorities for us here at MNPS. And we're going to continue to enhance and provide the most quality experiences that we can for each of you. You deserve it, and we want to make sure that all of our students are able to thrive. As you're making your selections for next school year, we have a robust portfolio of options here in Metro Nashville Public Schools. We have a place for you to thrive and for you to be engaged in the educational experiences of every MNPS student. We are committed to MNPS and MNPS for every student to be known. So enjoy your summer, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you. We'd like to thank Dr. Battle and her team for presenting that State of Metro Schools. As we said, we're very proud of the work that we have done as a district and the work that we continue to produce with our students, with our staff, and with our leadership. So it's nice to hear all the good things we have done over the years as time has progressed. Now we will open to public participation. The board will hear from those who have requested to appear at this board meeting. In the interest in time, marks will be limited to 3 minutes or less. Comments will be timed. You will hear a bell when your time has expired. We will first begin with Donna Clay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am a proud MNPS worker. I work in the cafe at Inglewood Elementary. To Dr. Battle, Chair Elwell, and to you, Ms. Frieda, thank you all for everything y'all have done for giving us raises, making sure that we have what we need, but it's still not enough. I was so hurt to see everybody else get 6%, but we only get 4%. I still can't afford to live where I want to live, comfortable with what I make. It's still not enough, but I love serving those kids, so I'm there for them, but I'm also there for myself to make it better lifestyle for myself, for my grandkids. It's still just not enough, and my real concern is about the raise. I do think we do deserve the 6% instead of 4%. I really do, because, and I say this is, my school is dirty. It's about the custodian. And when I go out there and I see those kids wiping off those tables, I get so pissed off I have to shut that door, because I want to go out there and tell them that's not your job. Y'all paying these people to clean up the school, but we can't get 6% and they're not doing anything. I have to sweep and mop my kitchen and the tray line. I have to clean off the cafeteria table so I can sit out there and eat, because they're not doing it. It's just not fair, and I feel like I deserve 6% because I come to work every day. I do what I need to do to feed those kids, to make sure they eat. I might get in trouble sometime, but I feed them. But it's just, I think we deserve the 6% instead of 4%. I want 6% for everybody, not just for me, but for the people that's coming in behind me that's going to serve these kids and be a part of the community. It's bad to see people still have to work 2 or 3 jobs. I'm not able to do that because I ain't gonna be able to go to work and be ready for the kids that's going, Miss Donna, can I get my hug today? Or I'm looking down the line, what's wrong with you? Why are you crying? You know, I want to be there for them, physical and mentally, but I can't. I just want to be able to live comfortable, and I can't do it on that 4%. It's not gonna help me. It's gonna help a little, but not a lot. It's still, I can't move anywhere I want to move nice and comfortable, because it's out of my reach of paying the rent. I can't afford to live in a 1-bedroom, and that is so sad, really sad, that I have to go out and get when somebody tell you need to make an extra $100 or extra $150 just to live in apartments. That's crazy to me. It makes no sense. I feel that we deserve the 6% instead of 4%. I just think it's crazy. Everybody else getting 6%, but we getting just 4%. I think we should be able to get that same amount. But work on y'all custodians, please. Here, get them people to do their job and do it right, and let them kids be kids and not work. I don't think that's fair at all. But again, I thank you all for what you all have done. And Dr. Battle, kudos to you.
Hallie Trauger.
All right. Good evening. My name is Hallie Trauger. I'm a resident of the 6th District and a proud CTE teacher at Antioch. As a side note on that pride, tomorrow I'm going with 20 students who are national qualifiers in the Technology Student Association from MLK and Antioch High School to compete in the national championship in Louisville. So I'm grateful for the support from the district, from CTE, from my principal, and everything that's made that possible. But tonight I am speaking as a member of the PECA team that deliberated on the revisions to the MNPS and MEA Memorandum of Understanding that are presented on tonight's agenda. Collectively, these reflect hours of thoughtful consideration by both MNPS and MEA representatives. Individually, they represent specific adjustments to improve teaching and learning conditions in our schools. Your approval will be a critical step to reaffirming the PECA process and an endorsement of these incremental but important changes. These changes include revisions to ensure that the Teacher of the Year process is fair and transparent, to facilitate the effective resolution of school-level issues through the faculty advisory committees. They protect teacher planning time during non-instructional work days, and they adjust the supplemental pay policy to affirm that our crucial school social workers deserve the same recognition and compensation as national board-certified teachers when they are certified through the Association of Social Worker Boards. They also include a commitment that the district will at least seek to adequately fund bereavement leave. And finally, they adjust the policy for class coverage when no substitute teacher is available, the in lieu of subpay policy, to reduce the frequency of class splitting resulting in classes far over class size limits, and to ensure prompt compensation for the teachers who so often cover classes and lessen the academic disruption that results from this class coverage. Lastly, as several of these reopeners highlight, the issues of teacher shortages, adequate bereavement leave, and substitute coverage remain critical in our schools. I therefore also urge you to adopt the day-to-day sub-pay rate increase by amending the MNPS budget to honor the City Council's decision to designate $1.75 million for that purpose. The City Council added these funds because they recognize that the Classroom Associates program, while very beneficial, will not fully satisfy the need for sub-coverage in our hard-to-staff schools like mine, and that day-to-day subs, who we will still need, deserve a more respectful wage. I also urge you to fully fund bereavement leave and longevity pay, and to increase the cost of living adjustments as urged by my SEIU and MEA colleagues who join me here tonight. Thank you very much for your consideration, and we look forward to working with MNPS to promptly consider, discuss, and adopt the next round of MOU reopeners. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Jo Cram.
Hi, I'm Mary Jo Cram. I'm the Secretary-Treasurer of MNEA, a teacher at the Academy at Old Cockerell, and a mother of 2 students at Dan Mills Elementary. I'm here to ask you to approve our Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU. The district and MNEA representatives worked hard to collaborate on this document. Its language will clarify procedures like Teacher of the Year voting, making things easier for everybody. Just as importantly, I want to ask you to fund the MOU and allocate money for increased bereavement leave. As a member of the PECA team that negotiated the MOU, I felt dismayed, even betrayed, to see that our bereavement leave was not included in the board's initial budget, even though everyone at the PECA table voted unanimously to approve it. We all have relatives and friends who live in other states, and if any of them passed away, we would need time to travel for a funeral. The new bereavement policy would recognize this reality and allow colleagues the time they need to grieve. Now, the money is there, so there's no excuse not to allocate money for this item that district representatives have already agreed on. I hope you will also honor Metro Council's wishes that their additional $1.75 million will be used to improve pay for day-to-day substitute teachers. The district depends on Metro Council's goodwill for its funding, so if its directions are not followed, future funding is jeopardized. Lastly, I'd ask that you prioritize longevity pay and cost of living adjustments for all staff with the remaining extra funds that Metro Council has given the school district. Our longest-serving teachers deserve to have their experience and loyalty rewarded with a longevity bonus that equals the one that administrators already receive. A 6% COLA still does not approach the inflation rate, but it would help keep my family from falling further behind as prices rise and my children grow. I serve on the MNEA PACE Committee, which endorsed every one of you and helped you win your elections. We support you because you share our values. I trust that you will support us. Thank you.
Thank you. Christina Brumleaf.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Christina Brumlevy, and I'm a member of the Metropolitan Nashville Education Association, a first grade teacher at Percy Priest Elementary, and live in Emily Masters School Board District. I am here tonight to advocate for 3 items in the school budget. Number 1, longevity pay. MNPS administrators receive longevity pay, and so should teachers for their years of expertise and experience. Teachers top out after step 28 and no longer receive step raises. Teachers with years of experience should be valued and compensated fairly, not left out on the pay scale. Number 2, 6% cost of living increase for all staff members. While we do appreciate the cost of living increases that we have received in the past, we need 6% to be in line with what city employees receive and what I really do believe that city council wants us to receive as well, and to keep up with inflation. To attract and retain teachers in a city that is very expensive to live in, it is very important. As we are about a month away from our official return to school, I know teachers and other staff members will be spending money out of their own pockets and unpaid time at school getting to school. I know many teachers that get there at 6 o'clock in the morning and stay much later, not just teachers, but other staff as well. Please compensate your hardworking employees with the same 6% cost of living increase that city workers are receiving. The video we just watched was absolutely beautiful, but if we want those wonderful things to continue, you have to compensate the people that make that possible, and that is your hardworking staff, all of us, teachers, all of the staff members. Number 3, substitute pay. Please increase substitute pay. There is a shortage of substitutes in this district, and teachers and other school staff often must take on extra duties when no subs are available. To attract and retain substitutes, the pay needs to increase. Thank you for the opportunity to address these issues this evening.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board. My name is Dr. Carolyn J. Lee. I live at 6833 Hickory Rim Court, Antioch, Tennessee, 37013. I stand before you as an advocate for current and future substitute teachers. As you all know, MNEA and substitute teachers have continued to plead for the board to increase substitute teachers' pay. As a former substitute teacher at MNPS, I'm appealing to the board to hear the plea of your substitute teacher, especially those speaking and not speaking. The budget that the City Council passed to allot MNPS $1.7 million includes sufficient funds to significantly increase subs pay to $200 per day and the incentive to $50 per day as well. With all due respect, this amount is not enough, but I believe it's a great start to exhibit to your subs that they are appreciated and cared. There is a great need for substitute teachers, as others have spoken already. Today, there has ever been, let me read that again. There is a greater need for substitute teachers today than there has ever been since the inception of public schools. Permanent teachers at an all-time low, and many have left MNPS due to lack of support and pay from the school board. Due to the shortage of perm teachers and sub, this past school year, many classrooms were without supervision, causing a disservice to those students desiring to receive an education. Please recall the day you were sworn into office under the oath that you would lead with integrity, equity, dignity, and respect, placing the interests of children above all others in every decision that you make. I thank you for listening and increasing your substitute teachers' pay. God bless you.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm Brad Rayson. I'm president of SEIU Local 205. It's good to see everyone. Our members include MNPS support employees like Honey Harris, Silver Brooks, Donna Clay, and James Brown. You know, they keep things running here at the schools. And, you know, there's a lot to be proud of. And in that video, there was a lot that I was really happy to see. But I got to always remind myself, as well as everybody, this is a team effort. It's support employees, it's teachers, it's administrators, whether they're in the classrooms, in the kitchen, on the buses, or everywhere else across our district. It's a team effort. Tonight you're going to be adopting a budget. And MNPS employees, as you've heard, are in line for a 4% increase instead of the 6% increase that all other Metro employees are getting. I have to say that folks like Donna, Silva, Honey, and JB were lobbying to the last minute on this budget, trying to make sure that it applied, the 6% applied to everybody, but we came up short. We have made a lot of gains over the last few years. Support staff and teacher pay has grown. However, there's still a lot of work to do. You know, Dr. Battle proudly said we have the highest paid teachers in the state. Well, we got to keep on that or it won't be true for long. We got to we don't want to just level set support employees' pay. We want to raise support employees pay so that they can live in our city. And we continue to say our support employees can live where they work. Last week, you got a number of emails were sent to Dr. Battle and Chair Elrod urging you to provide the 6% COLA, or at least a bonus like we did last year. A bonus is clearly not a substitute for a raise, and we all know that. But it would put some additional money in the pockets of employees to help with their bills. You know, we've had 8% cost CPI increases last year. And even though inflation is slowing and people are talking about it, it's still going up. Prices for food, for gas, for rent, for services are all going up. Last year's bonus cost $5 million. The final Metro budget allocation to you includes $66 million in fund balance surplus allocations that can be used for non-reoccurring costs. Among the things there is a $9 million amount earmarked for unspecified additional reserves. That's where some of the money came to pay for the substitute, the one-time substitute pay, and another pilot project. And we think that could be a source to do a bonus for all MNPS employees this year if we can't do a 2% COLA. So we urge you to utilize some of those surplus funds to do just that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will move on to the consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve consent agenda, knowing that 1D be removed has been put off the consent earlier. All right, may I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Oh, roll call, sorry. Dr. Sevier?
Dr. Gentry?
Yes.
Dr. Gentry votes aye. Ms. Masters?
Aye.
Ms. Masters votes aye. Dr. Nabar-McKinney?
Aye.
Dr. Nabar-McKinney votes aye. Ms. Buggs?
Aye.
Ms. Buggs votes aye. Ms. Mays?
Aye.
Ms. Mays votes aye. Ms. Player?
Aye.
Ms. Player votes aye. Ms. Block?
Aye.
Ms. Block votes aye. Ms. Tyler?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler votes aye. Chair Elrod?
Aye.
Ms. Elrod votes aye. Madam Chair, you have 9 ayes.
All right, thank you. Now we'll move on to the operating budget. We will be considering the budget for fiscal year 23-24. First, I want to thank everyone who's advocated for this budget, or for MNPS on this board, the community, MNEA, SEIU, throughout this whole process and the work that you've done. We have noticed the work. And thank you for everything you do to be part of the conversation of funding our schools. It is a big and complicated and complex conversation. I'd like to thank Mayor Cooper for giving his historic amount of new monies in MNPS during his 4-year term. More than any other mayor in recent history, he was able to give record monies to Metro schools to help fund the budget priorities, which have been employee compensation, continuity of federal funded initiatives, academic and NCL integration, operation improvement, and support, and school support. Over the past 4 years, MNPS has invested $145 million from fiscal year 22 into fiscal year 24. This has been for pay increases, steps, COLAs, and upgrading our play plans for teachers, support staff, and administrative staff that is included this year. We understand and we hear you about the 6%. Metro Council broke their tradition of funding the COLA for both MNPS and for Metro government as equal as they've done in the past. We are extremely disappointed in Metro government, the Council and Metro government not fulfilling that tradition or not holding up to that tradition. We are 37% of the Metro government. We have almost 1,000 more employees than Metro General Government. We will continue to advocate for employees, and this is not the end of the conversation. We've been working to absorb past budget cycles to make sure that we don't fall off a financial cliff, especially when it comes to federal funded grants. During my term as budget chair, I've been proud to be able to make sure that we have fulfilled our priority in improving employees' pay. Is it perfect? No. Is it what we want? Absolutely not. But given where we are and given what we are due, we will continue to have these conversations and then making sure that our employees are continued to be an important part of our conversation. I hope the board and the community continues to advocate for MNPS, continue to provide our students with the best education to increase our students' outcomes and to meet standards and goals, particularly in a post-COVID world. And so I will now open up for conversations to Vice Chair Tyler.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion.
I move approval of item 1D, fiscal year 2022-2024 operating budget.
There's been a motion to approve the budget. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Now we're on to discussion. This Vice Chair Tyler.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so I have several questions. One, and this is something I've asked about previously, we added $1.5 million to our custodial services, and the intent is that that money is going to go directly to custodians with the idea that that will then allow us to have enough to reach all of our schools for them to do their jobs. How are we going to ensure that they're getting that money and that it's not being absorbed in administrative costs, or that it's not that our custodians are going to be paid more what they're worth so that we get more of that worth? I know we cannot dictate how they spend what we give them, but how are we going to track where that money ends up?
Dr. Battle, if I want your chiefs want to.
Yes, thank you, board member, player. And feel free, Maura or someone from your team, if you want to approach the podium as well. That amount that is being referenced was part of the contract for this school year, as part of the recommended increase, not recommended, it's part of the contract of the amount that the contract increased year over year. There was an aspirational budget item to go towards increased, specifically around increased pay, which we know we can't necessarily enforce, but the amount that you are referencing is regards to the actual contracted amount year over year due to inflation and other needs with the contractor. I will pause for just a moment to see if Maura or anyone from her team, from our contracting team, has any additional information they'd like to respond to or with.
Chief Sullivan.
Thank you. Dr. Battle hit it right on the head. She gave you all the details on that. So this is part of our contracted amount for our to meet the obligations of our contract. It is a dictated amount within our contract. So we did, as Dr. Battle suggested, have an aspirational item that would have taken, in our discussions with the contractor, we had asked that this would take the pay up to a larger amount. And as I said, it was an aspirational item. It's not within the budget that is before you, but the contracted amount is.
Thank you.
Okay, well then, what's our mechanism in place to track how they spend the money we give them?
We have several meetings. Oh, I'm so sorry. Dr. Battle.
Go ahead, Chief Sullivan. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We have meetings once a month with the vendors, and we have scorecards that we get information from the principals as to the cleanliness of the schools. If a scorecard comes back that there is attention needed, then we immediately work with that vendor to work at the school and change or improve the work that they're doing. They are always facing many shortages in staffing, as we all are in our industries right now. But I know that the vendors are hardworking. I know that the vendors are working to improve their staffing and to always have continuous improvement around their product that they provide for us.
they don't always meet that obligation. And I know that you guys do reach out to them when there are egregious efforts, because I've been behind that as well, reaching out to you to make sure that happens. But that tracks how well they do their job. That doesn't track where the money we give them goes.
We do have, through our contract, I'm trying to think if there's, I'm going to defer to Kevin Edwards if we have additional, in procurement, to see if we have any additional tracks for that. But we do have in our contract negotiations every year, we do ask detailed questions about how the money has been spent. We do get information from both vendors about that. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but we do get continual updates from that each year.
Okay, well, I would like, go ahead.
I don't know first if Kevin has anything in addition that he wants to say, but if so, as he's coming up and responding, I think we've talked about this on multiple occasions, that we don't have the ability to dictate that for the contractors, but we do, Maura and team do request information from our contractors with regards to employee compensation. That is how we came up with the aspirational budget item, which of course is not a part of the budget proposal at this point in time, but we cannot dictate that, but the conversations are ongoing. That's how we came up with the aspirational budget item. And then I'll pause because I can't see if Kevin has any additional information that he would like to share.
He does not, Dr. Battle.
Well, I know that part of our contract has some stipulations if they're not meeting their obligations, and part of their obligations is keeping our schools clean, and that's not happening. So when they don't meet their obligation, what do we have in place? I know we've talked about this before, but I think it's good for the public to know. So what's in place that we can do when they're not meeting their obligations?
So, Maura, I'll start off and I'll kick it to you. I think that's a very broad, general statement about the work of our contractors. One of the things that we've worked closely with our school principals around is our process, if there are any needs or additional supports needed within our schools, including the scorecards, including being a part of the feedback cycle with our facilities management team. But I would not, I can endorse just the general broad sweeping statement, because there are places in which there are positive feedback and experiences with our contractors as well, which gives us an opportunity to target the areas where there may be additional needs and supports. I have the opportunity to visit schools all across the district. Part of what we are also assessing during those visits, not only in the quality of instruction, but also the nature and status of our school buildings. So that is an ongoing conversation. And we do have a process in place by which we use the scorecards, get feedback from our principals. We've talked about kind of the through line of communication and what that looks like for all employees and support employees to be able to share that feedback so that our team can be responsive and work closely with our vendors in this space. Maura, please feel free to add to my response.
Thank you, Dr. Battle. I would add that Dr. Battle has asked for her Principals Advisory Committee this past year to update their scorecard, and so we've been working with that advisory group, and we will be launching a new scorecard this year that they've recommended, that we hope will get even better response from our principals for our ability to continue to work with them and provide a good product.
Okay, I'd like to see that scorecard when it comes out.
Absolutely.
I'd also like to see when you get your first, you talked about that kind of first overview of things. I'd like to see that as well so that we can see how it's going. And I do want to say there are custodians who have been with us since they were underneath the MNPS overview, that they were not being outsourced to an outside group. And I have worked with those, and I know that many of them are still in our schools today and are doing a fabulous job. And I don't want to undercut those people, because they are really working hard, and they're doing a lot more with a lot less. And I'm very, very appreciative of the people that are sticking with us, even when it might feel like we're not doing as much as we could, and we're trying to do more. We want to do more for them. So I think it's really important that we kind of keep that at the forefront. We don't kind of let it go backwards, and we don't let it, because there are always so many things we could focus on. It's really important. I do think it would be important for us to find out, if they don't fully staff all of their schools, where does the money go that we would pay them for those people that are not being staffed? I think that's an important question that we should find out the answer to.
Will do.
Okay. So I don't know.
Chief Sullivan.
I'm good. Yeah, thank you so much,
Yes,
Chief
thank
Sullivan. Yes, so and then moving on. So I do want to say that I agree with Budget Chair Player about the City Councilor's budget and how we are disappointed that they did not stick to what they've typically done and keep us in parity with Metro government, to keep us at the same COLA level. In light of this new discrepancy, I think we owe it to our teachers and our staff to reassess our budget. While we may not have the funds to adjust the whole COLA rate, I think we do have the funds to offer at a minimum a one-time bonus. If we offer a one-time bonus of $1,000 for both support staff and teachers, it would cost us around $10 million. Now, we're lucky that we still have access to ESSER funds for at least one more year, and I strongly believe that that's where we can find this money. Federal guidelines require that 20% of the ESSER money be spent on learning loss. And MNPS has gone above and beyond, and they have budgeted $134 million, or 48% of our funds, to go to learning loss. And if we look at the guidelines for how you're supposed to spend ESSER dollars, building capacity of staff and strategic teacher retention are both approved ESSER categories for spending. So if we use $10 million of our $134 million to fund that one-time $1,000 bonuses for both teachers and support staff, it would fit that category, meet that need, and it would be a means to address learning loss, as well as recognize that we did not have a say, just like you guys fought alongside of us, trying to make sure that it was going to be equal. And we also were right beside you asking those same questions and pushing our council members to do the same thing. Unfortunately, it did not happen. So so I just want to kind of throw that out there. I would like to make that as an amendment, that we use that, or I don't know if that's an amendment we make to this budget because it's coming from ESSER funds, but I would like to make that as a commitment that that's what we use our ESSER funds for.
Well, the ESSER funds is a different budget and not part of the operating budget, so it cannot be amended to this budget.
That's why I said I'd like to make it a commitment, and I'd like to hear from Dr. Battle, how are we spending that $134 million for learning loss, and if it's not all accounted for, can we use $10 million of it to fund one-time bonuses?
So you're asking that question to
Yes.
Dr. Battle?
Yes.
Dr. Battle?
Yes, thank you, Board Member Player. I mean, let me first be clear about this. I think that the entire board should be commended for the very courageous and bold leadership that has already existed given our compensation plan. There is not anyone beyond this board and myself who is not advocating consistently for compensation for all of our employees. So I want to be clear about that. There's not a single voice. There is collective effort with the board members along with myself and my administration who is consistently advocating for compensation. I think that has been demonstrated over the last few years. I too am disappointed in the kind of break away from the percentage of COLA from all Metro employees. As we all know, in order for us to be able to do that, that would have required additional investment, of which we provide those numbers to the mayor's office and to Metro Council as well. So that's not a secret. We're very transparent around what it would take for us to increase our COLA. With regards to ESSER funds. I think we are all aware because it requires multiple levels of approval for ESSER funds. All of those funds have been programmed according to our ESSER plan. So I'm unaware, I'm not sure where that question is going, but for example, when we are launching programs like Promising Scholars and our other Scholars Portfolio, part of that allocated and dedicated funding was not just for 1 year, it was for the totality of their program given the ESSER funds. And yes, we are facing an ESSER fund cliff at the end of next school year. But there are not any unallocated funds in ESSER. Of course, they are one-time funds, and they've been programmed based upon, the investment of 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, so on and so forth, given the number of years that we've had ESSER funds available. So that was, it hasn't been too long ago where we've had the final approval of the ESSER budget. And in addition to that, we don't have sole authority over how those funds can be leveraged. All those funds must be approved by the state, by the board, and then by the state for it to be allocated in that way. But there are no unaccounted for funds within the ESSER budget.
Ms. Tyler, do you have any more questions or comments?
I would like to come back to the ESSER discussion. I think we have seen generic ESSER budgets, but unlike the operating budget, we've not seen line items. And so I have not seen where that $134 million is being spent line item. And I would like to see that. So if that is already spent and all those funds are done, I would like for you to share that information with us so that we can see where that's all been spent.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then my last question, where did we put the $1.75 million that the council intended for subpay?
So that it was an amendment that was part of the Roten substitute. It's not available until December 30th of this year. So we cannot even access that fund to the earliest. It would be January of 2024. So that was not one for immediate access for our board to access. That is contingent on the reserve that will have to be permitted by Department of Finance of Metro Government, and then we do it. So, but the earliest we could even access those funds will not be until January 24.
And at that point in time, are we going to be changing our subpay?
That's the time we'll bring the supplemental budget, and then we'll be able to consider it at that time with the supplemental budget that we do every year in January.
And is that the intent of?
Yes,
as the chair, that's the intent? Yes.
We have always follow the intent of the money. When the council person has allocated additional money, we've traditionally have followed the intent of the money, at least as long as I've been budget chair, tried to maintain that spirit of cooperation of how they provided. That has been always my intent as budget chair.
Okay. Well, thank you. Then that answers my questions. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Ms. Masters.
Thank you. So I want to first pick up on some of what Ms. Tyler brought up. This whole system it's a little wonky. The budget passed a week ago. That is the point at which we learned that Metro employees would be getting a 6% COLA, and our employees had been allocated a 4%. Councilmember Kevin Roten said, "Hey, the schools can figure it out and come up with it." I am in absolute agreement that we should try to figure it out. I think it's completely inappropriate that they allocate a 6% COLA to Metro employees and our employees get a 4%. I want to point out, that ESSER funds, as with any federal funds, can be an amendment to the plan can be filed. There can be adjustments right up until the point before we ask for the reimbursement for the funds that have been spent. So I think what we're looking at here is in that plan, and I understand that that's not the budget we're voting on tonight, but within that plan, can we make some adjustments? Are there some areas where the funds have not already been spent, where we can make a decision? We want to skim this off the top of an ESSER program we have planned for so that we can do these one-time bonuses really as as a show of good faith to our employees, as a show of understanding that we as a board do not believe council made the right decision when they gave Metro employees 6% and our employees 4%. Barring that, I just also want to point out, again, to the flawed system, that budget passed a week ago. We have not had a budget committee meeting. That is why we're basically having to hash out these changes to this budget based on what council has handed to us in this board meeting. So I would like us to really look at the budget and consider how we can get closer to that 6%, or at the very least, get to the point of offering the one-time bonus to help make up that difference. And again, we can still reallocate some of those funds. And I mean, if what we're looking at is an alleviant for learning loss, the best alleviant for that is having great people in our schools and making sure that they can afford to continue working there for the children. So that is something I want to talk about. I also have some questions. So I asked on May 11th for the new administrative pay scale, and I finally got it today. So I haven't had quite the amount of time that I would have liked to prepare the questions I have around that. But I have some anyway. So first, I wanted to give Dr. Battle, if you have any additional comment about the way that we could dig into the budget and figure out how to offer this additional compensation to our employees, I'd like to go ahead and give you the opportunity to answer that portion of the question, and then I want to move on to ask some questions I have about the admin pay scale.
Point of order. Point of order.
There's a point of order on the floor, Dr. Gentry.
I think we've made it clear that the ESSER budget is separate from the budget and the question that is currently on the floor. I would like to ask that we do have a discussion around the ESSER budget and what is currently allocated in it, but I believe it's not appropriate that Dr. Battle's not prepared to do the deep dive in the ESSER, and it doesn't have a bearing on the vote that's before us today if it's truly not a part of the current budget.
I would just add that an additional portion of my question was whether we might be able to find that funding within the budget that we're discussing right now.
Talk about it on this budget.
Okay. The ESSER budget has been approved at a previous meeting, and that is not on the agenda. So I think we can have the discussion, but it cannot relate to the immediate, to amending the ESSER funds. So we can have the discussion, but it cannot relate to that because that's not the budget being considered with the motion to approve this budget.
Are you open to setting a budget meeting for us to discuss the potential to amend that budget?
I am open to that. I've been thinking about a different idea, which if you give me a few minutes, let me finish fleshing out, because I do not want to bring that idea forward without really being very thoughtful. If we can move on to your next point, and then we can come back to that if you mind.
That sounds great. Oh, I feel like the microphone just started working. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that.
Oh, one moment, real quick, sorry. And back to your question about the budget. The reason we did not have a budget meeting because the budget has not changed from when the original budget that we passed back in May to the council. So there was no need for a budget meeting because no changes were made to that. So I just wanted to clarify that technical question.
Well, and I was just sharing with the public basically that since the budget passed by council, we have not met as a board to discuss what happened in that meeting.
This is the first meeting.
Okay, questions about the admin pay scale. So we're going from a plan in which it topped out at level 8 previously, and there was longevity pay, to now I think it's a 15 level, and there is no option for longevity pay. So I guess my first question is, how do the steps work? Are they, and I'm asking Dr. Battle, are they by year? You know, if you've been in the position for 8 years, are you at a step 8? Or is there something else that goes into the determination of moving from one step to the next on that pay scale?
Dr. Battle.
Ms. Blair, thank you. Chief Spencer, could you please approach the podium and respond to that question?
Yes, ma'am. So it's a multiple answer. if you, once you are on the scale, you move one step per year until you get to the top of the scale, just like all the rest of our pay scales.
Great.
Getting onto the scale is a slightly different calculation. It is generally a calculation of how many administrative years of experience you have, and then we place you on the scale according to a formula.
Like for new hires? Gotcha.
Yes.
So if I am currently at the top of the scale as an employee, and say like I've been topped out for a decade, level 8 for a decade, because that's previously the top of the scale. With this new scale, what is my scale next year? Like, what is my step next year?
So your step next year would be step 9. We would move you a step, just like we're moving everybody else a step.
So if I've topped out at level 8...
I'm sorry, which is consistent with how we leverage the other pay scale adjustments. So with our certificated staff, it also worked in the similar fashion.
So if I topped out at level 8 this year, what step am I at next year?
So if you're sitting on step 8 this year, then next year you would be on step 9.
So if I am a principal entering my 9th year of service, I will receive the same amount of pay as a principal entering their 20th year of service, if at the same education level.
That depends on where you started. So if you came into the district with 5 years and you started on step 3, you might not be at step 8 yet. So it is a little bit complicated.
Is there any circumstance where someone currently on step 8 will move higher than to step 9 in this coming year?
No.
I think that's a problem. I think that is highly inequitable, and I think it puts a big emphasis on recruitment over retention, which is a problem that this board has spoken about time and time again. This essentially is pushing out the principals who have many years of service in the district. So if I am a high school principal with a PhD and I've been in my position for decades. I don't know what the longest serving principal, I don't know how long they've been in. Say I've been there for 20 plus years. When I move from step 8 on the current scale to step 9 on the new scale, my salary increase is going to be 6%. That is what it works out to. So, but yet we've been told that the average raise with this new scale is going to be like 11 point something %, and then it's going to, quote, eliminate the need for longevity pay. I don't think that is fair, and I don't think it's a good strategy for retaining the longtime principals who've been serving us in the district well for a long time, to give them a 6% pay increase while newer principals will receive an 11% pay increase. I would like to see us focusing more on retaining the talent that we have in the district. So,
Chief Smith, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yep.
I'm happy to respond to this because this is very similar, and we've got to be very mindful of this. This is no different than in years that we've not been able to fund step increases or COLAs for anyone. There's not the opportunity to go back and level set that after that has been the case. So that is a similar scenario here. When we did the market analysis for the certificated teacher pay, we used the same formula for determining and benchmarking against other schools and districts, both locally and regionally. So it's critically important that as we're talking about our operational procedures and our formulas, that we're consistent in how we apply that method. So this is no different than And again, I realized that everybody wasn't on the board, maybe in the district, when this was our history, but it is a new kind of trend for us to be able to fund COLAs and step increases multiple years in a row. Part of advancing this pay scale to 15 lanes is to increase earning power with regards to that. That is exactly why longevity pay was there originally, because there were only 8 steps for administrators. So I'm just, making sure we're being conscious of the way in which this pay analysis, pay scale steps have worked for all employees and should be the same way for the way in which we implement our pay study for certificated admin. Chief Spencer, if you want to add anything, feel free to do so.
No, ma'am, I think you, as Maura said a little while ago, hit it right on the head.
I would just add, you may recall that I have also asked questions about the way that we move teachers forward on our pay scale as well, with the same issue around, the 30-year teacher not making much more than the 20-year teacher, and my desire to keep them in classrooms. So consistency is great, but I just don't want us to be consistently wrong in the way that we're implementing these particular procedures. And unfortunately, I think we should be paying a lot more attention when we make these changes immediately, when we immediately shift from an 8-step scale to a 15-step scale. There are some folks that should be brought along in that process. A way that we could alleviate on the teacher side is to add longevity pay. So I understand that the idea behind the 15-step admin scale is to eliminate the need for longevity pay, which I do not believe it does. But I don't understand why we're now acting as though there's not an issue as well with teachers who aren't being compensated appropriately for their many years in the classroom. This is very frustrating to me because we as a board have said time and again that compensation is our top priority. That is what fits into what we as a board are trying to do. When I ran 3 years ago, I ran to fully fund MNPS, and to me, that means a living wage for everyone who works in MNPS. And that I'm frustrated with council more than I'm frustrated with y'all, because I know all of y'all have your hearts in the same place, and I know we're playing a lot of catch up. And we've been fortunate to have a mayor who has funded us at higher and higher levels every year. I think we need to go back to the drawing board on some of these compensation issues. And I think HR needs to go back to the drawing board on how you are applying this scale.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, one moment. Can I say something real quick and then, yeah. So what I would like to just propose out there as a board, that when we have our July retreat, that we consider the ESSER budget in this and see I want to be mindful of the repercussions, because it's also, we have to take from one to fund the other, and understanding what we're doing and see that. So at our July retreat, we look at the budget, look at the ESSER budget and see where have more detailed discussions and understanding that that will cost reallocations, and are we okay with those reallocations that happen, but have that be part of the July budget to be put on the agenda. So I will put that out there.
Is that set? Is that retreat set?
No, it's not set. It will be set sometime soon. Okay. Chair Elrod she'll set it after the meeting today.
Okay, because July's coming in a few days. Okay.
So we'll do that. Dr. Gentry.
I move the previous question.
Previous question has been moved. Is there a second? There's been a second. All in favor of the, roll call.
Dr. Gentry?
Aye.
Dr. Gentry votes aye. Ms. Masters?
Aye.
Ms. Masters votes aye. Dr. Nabal McKinney?
Aye.
Nabal McKinney votes aye. Ms. Buggs?
Aye.
Ms. Buggs votes aye. Ms. Mays?
Aye.
Mays votes aye. Ms. Player?
Aye.
Ms. Player votes aye. Ms. Block?
Aye.
Block votes aye. Ms. Tyler?
Can I have a point of clarification? Are we voting on whether or not we're going to vote?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. No.
Ms. Tyler votes no. Ms. Elrod?
Aye.
Chair Elrod votes aye. Madam Chair, 8 ayes, 1 no.
Okay, so now we move on to move the previous question. This is to approve the fiscal year 2023-24 operating budget. Dr. Severe, can you give a roll call, please?
Dr. Gentry?
Aye.
Dr. Gentry votes aye. Ms. Masters?
Abstain.
Ms. Masters passes. Dr. DeBon McKinney?
Aye.
Dr. DeBon McKinney votes aye. Ms. Buggs?
Aye.
Ms. Buggs votes aye. Ms. Mays?
Aye.
Ms. Mays votes aye. Ms. Player?
Aye.
Ms. Player votes aye. Ms. Block?
Aye.
Ms. Block votes aye. Ms. Tyler?
Abstain.
Ms. Tyler passes. Chair Elrod?
Aye.
Chair Elrod votes aye. Madam Chair, you have 7 ayes, 2 passing.
The budget has passed. We will keep you updated. Dr. Gentry? I was like, we will keep you updated about the retreat, where we'll have a detailed discussion about the ESSER funds for consideration. And we'll keep you, thank you for everyone for their advocacy on the budget. Dr. Gentry?
I do believe at a previous retreat, when we first started discussing ESSER funding, ESSER funds and availability, that Dr. Battle and team did present how those funds were being used. I think there's documentation around that already. In preparation for the retreat that Chair Elrod will be setting a date for, I would ask that information just get resent. I know it's a little bit of work, but I think it would be very helpful for us to clearly not only understand how those dollars are being used, but what needle are we trying to move? What are the outcomes those dollars are expected to impact? So that when we make a recommendation of what's not going to be done, if we're going to take the rob Peter to pay Paul position on how to get the pay equity that we believe we want to see, that we need to be very, very clear about what's not going to get done, what's not going to be delivered by our director of schools and her team that we have asked her to do in the past and what she's committed to do, and I would dare say what she's been on track to do, with the expectation that the funding that exists today and the allocations that have been determined today were expected and have an intended outcome throughout the lifetime of the funds. So we also need to be prepared to give her a pass on not delivering on those outcomes if we agree that those outcomes do not bear the weight and the level of importance to other things that we want to give priority to. Not saying one thing is right, wrong, or the other, but we need to be prepared to tell the story of what the impact of making a reallocation at this point in time of the plan of what those ESSER dollars were intended to do. The concept of learning loss is not an air quote topic. It's a real thing. That is a real term that is really measurable and is one that we have been charged, and the state is continuing to come up with ways to punish us for, and our families, and our students, and our teachers, and our building level leaders for not closing those gaps that have been exacerbated by the pandemic that we continue to reference. So I would just ask, apologies for asking for a little bit of work from the director of schools and her team to provide the documentation in advance as much as possible of the retreat, so that solid, well thought out recommendations from this board can be brought forward so that we have something to discuss at the time that we do convene. We've already made the case that there's something different that we would like to see. I think that meeting has to be productive. It needs to be a working session. And so to that end, we need to come prepared with real recommendations, again, understanding what it is we're willing to give up in search of what it is we want. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And the reason I asked for it to be at the retreat, so we were not limited by time of a budget meeting, that we have time to breathe and have that discussion, a full, thorough discussion, and not be compressed by time to a board meeting following a budget meeting. So that's why we're not doing it as a committee meeting initially. And now on to announcements. District 1. District 2. District 2. I know, you're on a different side of it. There you go, Ms. Chair Elrod.
Hi. Hello. I'm not used to being in that order. I apologize for my habit there. I appreciate everybody being in attendance today, so we have our quorum and can go over the budget. I know that we are disappointed in how the council allocated it, and that'll be ongoing discussion. I will have the information about some upcoming retreats, not just for July, but my hope is to go ahead and schedule for the end of the calendar year so that we can best schedule ourselves. And so I'll be working on that this week with our staff because, of course, our schedules and their schedules need to co-align. So I'll be getting that information to you to make sure that they fit within your current calendar. Other than that, as y'all know, Dr. Nama McKinney and Dr. Battle and myself are here at AVID. Because we're an AVID district. It's been really very interesting, and so I look forward to us sharing that information in a future retreat as well, but also, of course, when we do our review at the next meeting, which, remember, is July 25th. That is our only July meeting, is the meeting on July 25th. So that's important for us to know as a board and, of course, for the public. Other than that, I hope y'all are doing well, and I will see you soon.
District 3.
I don't have any announcements tonight.
Thank you. District 4. District 4, yes.
4, right?
Yes, you are 4. According to the Election Commission, you are District 4.
No, I'm okay. So I do want to make a statement related to the budget. I'm very disappointed in the position that Metro Council has placed us in, and without having the conversation with us before making the move to compensate Metro employees to the 6%. And so I'm very much looking forward to our retreat to have that robust conversation and a well-prepared conversation as well. Around this. I hope that moving forward, as we continue to look at who our next mayor will be and our Metro Council will be, that they will be in alignment to continue the major investments that we have in Metro schools, and to be in alignment also when it comes to any type of compensation that we're doing for Metro employees across the board, whether it's with Metro government or with Metro Nashville Public Schools. Other than that, I am excited about the work that I am seeing here in Orlando with the Metro Council and the leadership of Dr. Battle and her team, as well as the almost over 600 Metro Nashville Public School employees that is here learning more about the district-wide implementation, and I look forward to sharing out more about this in the coming days. So that is all of mine, and thank you.
District 5. District 6.
Really quickly, so just want to make sure that everyone is aware of 2 upcoming principal meet and greets. Our new executive principals at Cane Ridge High School and Antioch High School, we will have a meet and greet that will be open to the public July 10th at Cane Ridge High School and July 11th at Antioch High School. Both events will start at 5 p.m. at the respective schools. And so if you are able to, please come out and meet these new executive principals. Also, we are on sabbatical for community meetings until August 15th. I will share that information as it gets closer to the next community meeting for District 6. And also, I just wanted to share that last week I had the opportunity to travel to Danbury, Connecticut to visit with the Danbury Public School System. They are implementing their take on the Academy's model in Danbury. And it was an impressive visit. It's going to be interesting to watch how they grow. They have an 11-member Board of Education, and I think 6 of those members are turning over in this election cycle. So it'll be interesting to see how they continue to implement. But they have visited Metro schools, and they have done the hub visits 3 times now to get an idea of what or how they need to implement this program. And interestingly enough, they have one high school, but they are on track to have about 3,800 students in that high school in the fall. So they will be implementing their academies program, starting with their freshman academy. Their first cohort will be this fall. So I'll be watching to see how it continues, and they are excited about a collaboration with Metro Schools because our model has been the precipice for them to kick this thing off. So it'll be interesting, and I'll continue to update as we go along. The collaboration will continue. So big congratulations to the entire Metro Schools team, who obviously, we're doing a great job. We're going into 17 years of doing this thing now, and people around the world are noticing. So huge congratulations to everyone who works so hard with the Academy's model. It is definitely showing off and paying dividends. So thank you.
Thank you. District 8.
I'm like, wait, that's me.
Yes, according to Election Commission, that is you,
No, for a minute, I was, sorry. I was also distracted thinking about what I was going to say, which is I want to thank Dr. Kusan-Lark and Shannon Key and the counseling team and everyone who showed up to march in the Pride Parade on Saturday. It was a joy to get to march not only with our educators, but our staff and some of our students even, and my own kids who were there marching with another contingent, but did come take a picture with me at one point. And thank you also as well to the staff who stood out in the heat at Pride, which was very hot, at the booth, welcoming everyone in Nashville who was at Nashville Pride, telling them more about MNPS schools, about the MNPS for All initiative, and to all the board members who were there and all the board members who wanted to be there but couldn't for various reasons, which was, as far as I know, everyone who texted back when we were talking about potentially being there. So just really proud to be part of a district that is focused on supporting not only our students but also our LGBTQ IA plus staff as well. So thanks for being there, and everyone be sure to mark your calendars for next year.
Thank you. District 9.
Yeah, I have to address something that somebody said about how previous years our step raises and our COLAs have been frozen or they haven't been funded, and so we should be getting recognition for following through on that. I think it's important to note that when I was a teacher, when I signed on, I saw the step raises as promises. They were not meant to be just in case we have enough money. It was recognition for my time and my expertise of adding more and more time. It was not we hope we can do this. Otherwise, why make a schedule for steps if we're not going to follow through on them? So, and they're also separate from COLA because they are supposed to be a recognition of our time and our expertise. They're not supposed to be used as a cost of living adjustment. That's what the COLA is for. That's why they're two separate things. So I think that it is good that we are now doing steps. I think it is good that we are now doing COLA, but I don't think we need to get our pats on the back for it because we should have been doing it all along. And our previous councils and boards were just failing to follow through on those promises. So that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you. Aaron was going to mention my thing about Pride. So, no, good. No, you don't. We don't have to repeat the subject. I just want to thank everyone for showing. I know this has not been an easy meeting. This budget process has not been easy, and it's a continuing conversation. We have made strides, and I understand that there's still continued conversations going on, and we will continue to make improvements. Employees, we hear you. We really do hear you. We are making discussions, we have been advocating, we have put our money where our mouth is, as I said earlier, about continuing to do it. Are we excited about not doing what we want to? Absolutely not. But understanding that's why we're going back to the retreat, and it's not an end of discussion. but also we are accountable not only to you, but to parents and to students. And we take that job seriously. We are fiercely defending you, and when we talk to other community stakeholders, when they try to push mandate or things on you, we constantly push back. And so when we do this, we also have to be accountable to the parents and students. And please, we do not take that lightly. And we want to make sure when we do something, we do it the understanding what we're doing and sometimes what we have to give up and sacrifice, and that we're willing to defend that. And that's something when we have a whole community having conversations about our school system, which are often not educated or not complete. We have seen this with the mayoral debates of what they have said about Metro schools that have been totally false or totally miseducated or not knowing what they understand, what we are trying to do. We have worked hard with Dr. Battle. We have set our tone with Dr. Battle. She has fulfilled that over the past 3 years. I've been budget chair for 3 years. We have made strides, and I agree with you. Steps should be a promise, but as when I was working for employees, I've had previous director of schools break that promise to my face and say a blatant no to my face. So I understand it. I do not take this lightly. I understand what's going, but we do have official responsibility to the state, to Metro government, to the mayor, to the taxpayers of how we spend our money and how we educate our kids and making sure we're meeting outcomes, we're meeting at grade level, and we do not take that lightly. It is a delicate balance. It's a balance that we have tried and we are constantly balancing and walking on. And please, this is not the end of a conversation. We are planning to continue to build, but this is an election year. We have a brand new mayor. We have mayors that want to literally get rid of us and have a mayor-appointed school board that actually made basically a threat of something that we already did. And so we will do our job. I will make sure as budget chair that we fulfill our fiduciary responsibility. Budget are tough choices. It's a budget. It's a plan. We will continue to work the plan. The plan is not always what we want it to be, but it's something we have to do. The new fiscal year starts in less than a week. Contracts have been made. Budgets have been set. Principals have made plans. And so we will make sure if we make adjustments to that, we have to be diligent how we do that because it will disturb a balance of an ecosystem. So please, to the employees, we understand we are trying to be innovative. We are trying to make sure you have a better quality of life, if in the classroom and also financially. And sometimes we can't do it the way we want to do it. And I know this is not an easy thing to hear. It's not an easy thing for me to say. And I just want to make sure that this is a continuing conversation and that we will continue to work with you and that this is not a no for now, but this is more of continuing the conversation to make sure we're doing things properly and that we're doing things with the right education and the right to, when we talk to the community and when we advocate for you, we advocate it full-throatedly and full-heartedly and make sure that we're doing best by our children, that we're educating, and our employees. So that being said, good night, and this meeting's adjourned.
Ms. Masters and Ms. Taylor, I want you to know that the employees applaud your efforts.
Presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.